think I hear something, Jer.
What do you hear?
It's the sea, but people lost at sea.
Lost at sea?
Yes.
As in the sea, or S.E.A.?
S.E.A? What does S.E.A mean?
S.E.A. S is for story.
Ah.
The story we tell ourselves when something happens. E is for the emotion that we feel because of the story in our head. And A is the unconscious action which follows that emotion.
So, how can we help these poor people who are lost at sea? That I can hear saying, help me guys, help me, what can we do?
Well, the first thing we can do is bring it from the unconscious level to the conscious level, because at the moment it's a domino effect. You're having a stimulus response relationship with life. Something happens and you automatically go, one domino follows the next, follows the next. So you got this story in your head which happens in a split second. And that creates an emotion which pumps hormones all over your body. And then you're called into action to do something about it, to run away or to run towards something.
But it happens super fast.
Super fast.
Like just in half a second.
Millisecond.
Boom, boom,
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do in this nautical themed episode, guys, so we're trying to stick on topic. This is our efforts to stay on topic.
Yeah, and not wander too much.
Is we're trying to slow down the process. We're trying to slow down time so people can, just like in our previous episodes, where they just, the superpower of just watching
the awareness
fear,
vision.
The awareness vision can make that shift, that separation between you and fear, your
fear tiger.
Happening. And the tiger, of course. So these are all the same theme of, it's bringing awareness. It's basically popping out of our coma, regaining consciousness, and realizing that we have fallen asleep.
Yeah.
And these things are happening kind of with our autopilot say so. So in this week's episode, we're having a nautical themed one. See, we've made an effort. We're wearing nautical. You can't see this, but this actually has buttons that are compasses. They're compass buttons, and we got this in a second-hand shop, and I don't really know why. We only bought it because of the label name, because it's Francine, who might make an appearance later. I have no idea.
Who knows?
Who knows with Francine?
Yeah.
But that's where we bought it, and then we didn't know we were going to do a nautical theme, so that was quite handy.
Yeah, very handy.
So we're trying, guys.
Yeah, we are trying to stay on topic.
And so today, even if we obviously we're not going to speak the whole hour and a half or whatever about S.E.A, but all of our topics will be marine themed. So we'll have lots of nautical metaphors and allegories, and
we've picked up along the time, like along the way.
Along the way.
Almost. Not the time, just the way.
No, along the way.
So unless you understand the mechanics of what's actually happening to you when you get into a fearful situation, unless you understand the mechanics of why you act aggressively or unconsciously, are you silent, you will go into your shell. Yeah. These are the mechanics. In a split second, you get a story. So an event happens. Fairly neutral event.
Not even an event.
No, or not even an event, actually,
That's even better. But like nothing.
You imagine an event in the future that might happen, which is even worse. So
or one that's happened in the past.
Or one that's happened in the past.
About,
yes.
Like,
okay, let's clarify that then. Okay, right.
This kind of undigested seafood, bad clams.
Bad clams.
That's all we can have bad thoughts to, akin to bad clams.
Yeah. So you're bringing up bad past experiences. You're living that instead of living your now. What's actually happening right now? The only creative time that there is in the present moment.
The only real thing that we actually experience.
You're basically daydreaming. So you're living a daymare. Or you're living the daymare of a future imagined horrible event. Or there's a physical event happening now, and usually that physical event is the exception. Usually it's an imagined future event, or it's dwelling on the past. But either way,
it's not even physical. Sorry, darling, but emotional. Like it's just something happening now in the present. It could be physical, or it could be emotional.
Yeah.
But it's happening now.
But the emotion would usually be triggered by imagining something that's not happening in this moment, unless something's happening physically, and then you're having an interpretation of it.
Of course. So we will. It's the same process anyway
Yeah.
for past, present, or future.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's the same.
And before we start, should we have a little bit of rooibos?
Indeed, as is tradition, even as a tongue-tied tradition. Blech.
Well, you've got Jer actually snuck some already.
I had a tiny bit. We've been heated up because it was gorgeously warm today. I was helping our neighbour fix up her garden instead of actually fixing her own, and it's actually gone a little bit kind of, not damp, but it's kind of,
Darling.
eveningy.
Oh, it's lovely and warm still. Great. So let's start with story, guys. S is for story.
Okay, so S is for story. So story happens literally in a microsecond, and obviously because you're not aware of it, it just goes vroom. So there's reality, and there's the story you tell yourself about reality. So the reality unfolds, and it's like, that's okay. If you're being more honest about it, you'd say, well, that's a truth. That's what happened. But my interpretation of it is my story. So my story is that this and this
which
and the
is
other.
always weighted.
Oh yeah, of
because
course.
the egoic mind loves to have the worst case possible scenario, and it also likes to put you as the victim and the victor as well. That everyone else, they don't know anything, and you are the only person on the planet that's got it together.
Well, actually, Francesca, there's the victim and the villain.
So you make everyone else to be the villain when
Yes.
you're the victim.
You're the victim.
Victim of your own genius in some sense.
Everyone else is the villain. So then you automatically put this villain filter in front of the person that you see as the source of this particular event or the cause of it, and everything that they do is interpreted that way. So they're just blackened.
A bit like the poop stained spectacles we were speaking of.
Exactly.
But then when you're kind of focused into that perspective, that colour, that's all you see, and
That's all you
everything
see.
is just is just an example of how
Confirmation bias. You just keep seeing this stuff unfold, and it only confirms for you just how bad that person is, and how, if you can wake up in that second, that's another bit later on, but if you can wake up in that second to just realize that when you're feeling those emotions and you're feeling fear or you're feeling anger, your interpretation or your the version of that person that you have in your head is not reasonable. It's not true. It's just not true.
It can't be.
It can't be.
Because everybody, just to kind of do a mini segue, everybody is everything. Like, we are all mean when we're mean. We're all horrible when we're horrible. We're all lovely when we're lovely. We're all kind when we're kind. So when we look at somebody, we think it's all black and white and they're just this way.
Yeah.
Or maybe when they're with their children or their grandchildren or their doggie or their pet or something, then they're loving and they're caring, or they're walking in nature, or they just don't feel so insecure, or they're doing something that makes them feel safe and happy. Then they act their real selves instead of their shell self.
Ooh.
Which we will talk about that metaphor later. So we have to get out of that habit of it does actually, it's really good, it does make the sea noise, and you can hear all the people going, help me, help me, in sea of anxiety.
I'm drowning. Is anyone else drowning?
What was in that?
Is it just me? It's not just you. We're here to tell you that it's not just you.
We're all bloody drowning, lads. We're all in the freaking sea together. We're all just like this,
floundering. and then look. If I can get up, I can use this person to get up on top. Then maybe, just maybe, I can breathe for a second.
Yeah. Might kill that person. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Who cares?
So
it's a dog eat dog world,
Exactly.
and in this sea, it's a sea dog eat sea.
Sea dog world.
Sea.
It's a sea dog eats a sea dog world.
So yeah. So that's kind of the, isn't that the putting the filter on the person?
So
So
rewinding,
you're being unreasonable. You're being unreasonable about that person.
You're caricaturing them to be the worst type of version of themselves.
And
just
then
that
you're
one angle.
and then you're putting a filter on yourself, saying, "I am the victim here,"
Yeah.
which then everything feeds into that, and you are the victim.
Or you could be saying, I'm so terrible and I'm so awful, because that's another classic of the ego, to go and put you down, aren't I?
That's true, that's another one.
So awful, I'm such a terrible, I just really need to apologise for even existing on this planet, that kind of energy. But it's the same thing, it's still
Sorry,
the same
Governor. Didn't mean to put you out there, Governor. I mean, I'm just a little thing. I'm a good person, I am.
I'm a good girl,
You're a good person when you're a good person, and you're a bad person when you're a bad person. Let's not have these blocks of going
We all want to feel
this
like we're
or this.
so good.
Just be good, and then you're a good person.
Yeah.
And that you'll be the majority being the good person, and then you can be maybe. No, you can only be called a good person when you're a good person, and when you're being a good person, you can be called a good person. So.
When you're an irritated person, you're an irritated person,
Yeah.
and mean, and all these things, and
But don't be too hard on yourself.
try not to be hard on yourself, guys, because that's what we're doing. We're just whipping ourselves the whole time. We've got that cat of nine tails from the worst scene possibly in cinema, in my opinion.
Please not.
I'm not even going to go back again. Anyone who's seen it will know exactly. I'm not going to advertise it for people who
sticking on the
haven't seen
ribs.
it. I go getting it stuck, and we're doing that to ourselves all the time. And then we decide,
So
well,
this isn't-
we'll do
yeah.
it to other people as well.
So this session isn't about us berating ourselves and putting ourselves down. It's literally just pointing out, this is what we do. We stick our head in the and we're just so we can't hear anything properly. We can't see anything
just
properly.
Like
It's all
when you have your
blurred.
head underwater.
Yeah.
This is a spontaneous analogy coming up now, but that's it. You're and you can't see anything, you can't hear anything, you can't understand reality, reason, rationale. You are drowning. So it's time to get our heads out of the water, lads.
Yeah.
And
change the story.
start changing the script.
Yeah.
We don't need to follow this story if we're not enjoying it.
Yeah.
We don't need to be.
It's not a fun one.
It's not fun. No one's actually having any fun. We're just having not fun.
You wouldn't read it. You wouldn't continue reading a crappy story.
Or a
You
film.
just change books.
Or a film.
So your life story.
It's pretty big one.
Yeah, it's
pretty
the main
important.
thing happening.
That's the big
So
deal.
if it's not, so if it's boring you, it's angering you, it's frustrating you, it's not fulfilling you, change it up.
Yeah.
So an event hits.
So it's think about, what is my brain telling me? Because it's that consigliere again, which is that what's it in English? The advisor going and just whispering and just going, don't trust them, they're terrible, they're this, that and that, and you're terrible too, and all. It's that kind of terrible ridiculousness. So it's never positive
No, it's never
for
positive.
you or the event, the person, whatever it is. So that's the first thing, is to stop the drowning in the sea in its tracks and go. Sorry,
Maybe
that was
maybe my brain, my voice in my head is telling me the wrong story. Maybe I should change
we
it
just
up.
believe everything. Again, do you remember the sushi table guys? If a thought.
Nautical? Sushi.
Oh, it is nautical. I was about to say, you were going to tell me off for saying it's not nautical. I was thinking, oh God, but it is. Yeah, totally.
I wouldn't tell you off, Francesca.
You would tell me.
I wouldn't tell you off. You do ever so well.
Doing this well, am I? I'm a good girl. I washed my hands and face before I came.
Good girl.
Sorry,
sushi.
So just like the revolving sushi restaurant
And the
runway, like
flies coming off it.
these thoughts, just because you think that they come from you, that you're generating them, so therefore they have to obviously be on your side. They don't, and you really need to check it out and give it a sniff first before you start scoffing it down your gob. So as soon as you have this story that you're making up, what happens, Jer? So you're inventing the story, and if you don't have the conscious awareness, if you're not remembering to,
if you're not aware of the
wake
mechanics,
up.
which you are now becoming aware
don't
of
have
the
an
mechanics.
excuse anymore, lads.
Don't excuse yourself. You heard it now. You can't unring that bell.
The sea bell.
See bell.
boat
Bong, ding, ding. I can't do a good bell.
Dong, 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 dong. That was bad.
Then your body, as we said before, depends on you to interpret reality through the five senses.
Yeah.
So if you're telling your body that this is a terrible thing that happened and he's just awful, awful, then basically,
Very bad man.
yeah, you're a very bad man. It's kind of like, then that's, your body prepares yourself. Okay, is it fight or flight or whatever? Let's prepare ourselves. And
We got to go run, guys.
we got to run
Now what-
or we got to fight.
Now what happens? Hands up. What if anyone who's been on this channel before and has listened to the waffling of the previous episodes, the
I
meandering?
feel like we're a bit more focused today.
We're feeling it's the outfits, lads.
Yeah, maybe we should go teamed every time.
We're themed every time.
Go on.
Oh sugar, have I lost my train of thought?
Oh,
so
no, sorry.
what were you saying now?
Your body depends on you to interpret reality and therefore sends all these hormones around the body to then get prepared for fight or flight.
Oh yes, and of course,
Can I help you out any more than that?
you can do very well. Previous listeners and watchers will know that what happens when you go into fight or flight, is all the blood goes to where it thinks it's needed.
Brain drain. We got ourselves a brain drain, guys.
We got a brain drain, guys.
And we don't think too well when we're brain drained. Yeah, I might be able to get my tobacco. I've been smoking much. Yeah, just get flies, but I can't do much thinking. Thinking ain't nothing fine.
There's no brain. There was just
There's no brain. Brain drain.
None at all. So all your blood goes into your arms and legs because you need to run or you need to fight.
Yeah.
So what happens when you're just
Our poor bodies.
I know. What happens, Joe, when you're just at home, just by yourself? Just thinking.
All of that energy and all those hormones get trapped in your body. And because they're not getting released, guess what? Well, there's no one, especially if you're lying in bed maybe, and you're thinking about some future worry or tomorrow morning's meeting or whatever it might be, or meeting somebody or something like that. All the adrenaline then can't do anything about the body because the body can't move, so let's go up to the mind and fuel that shit. Oh, can't say that word, but anyway.
Feel that poop.
Fuel that poop and get that poop, throw a bit of poop into the fan and go fire it off because the adrenaline has nowhere to go. It has to work somewhere.
And the brain is, as we all know, the biggest, the hungriest and greediest of all of our organs.
Yeah. So it's just gonna spiral. So yeah, go on. You were doing pretty well.
So you've got distracted by the dog walker.
I am. I got distracted by the dog walker.
But she's still talking on her phone.
She is. She's talking on the phone all the way over and all the way back. Is she even aware of her dog?
The dog's waiting for her. He's looking after her. Yeah.
He is. He's guarding her, protecting her.
It's so cute. Yeah, so like if you're at home and you know you're chilling and you get some stressy thoughts about something you've done, something you think's going to happen, or even you're watching something scary and that's the feeling there, then you get all this draining of the blood from the brain, you get the hormones, the adrenaline, all these different enzymes going around your body, freaking you out, and then you're not running a marathon and you're not fighting a toughie. So
you're not fighting yourself. You're not beating yourself up, basically.
Yes.
I've used basically for a while.
You haven't. You're allowed a quota. You got a couple stored
That
up.
sounded a little bit.
Sound like a woodpecker. What did you think?
Yeah, woodpecker.
That's not woodpecker, is it?
What?
Is that the woodpecker sound?
Well, the cartoon guy, a little bit. Didn't do a great job of it.
You did. For a second, I thought it was something else. But,
You thought it was Roadrunner?
I did think it was the Roadrunner.
Meep, meep.
Meep, meep. No, back. More nautical. Come on
Yeah.
now.
Go on.
Your costume made me
Okay, go.
bring ourselves back.
Go.
And this very odd jacket, which is a little uncomfortable, but it's okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be a one-off with it.
I think it might be a one-off.
Go on.
But it's okay. It was only a couple of euro. All right, so
You beat yourself up instead of
we've done the
there's
story.
no there to fight with. Yeah, it's a done story.
So we've done the emotion now. We know what's happening with the emotions because, of course, it's the feeling of all of those chemicals going around your body, and we are feeling creatures. So the feeling that you are getting in your heart is very, or in your gut, in your stomach. So nice sword through the gut feeling that you've been gutted like a fish.
Oh,
She's up.
you're on the boat today. You're on the boat today for.
I'm on the boat today, and so.
Steady as she goes.
Thank you very much. So these feelings you get then conjure up other feelings as well. So it's just to not leave the emotion just for a second.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a feeling of feeling like I've been gutted, or I'm feeling like strangled. I feel like I can't breathe. And then I'm going to feel, well, I need to defend myself. So
Or curl up in a ball.
Or curl up in a ball. So this is...
Or in your
show. So before we take an action, we are forced. So the emotions, which is the mix of, it's all the chemicals and the actual sentimenti that you're feeling, they combine to react off one another to then compel you. And this is the hard, for me, to stop the S to the E to the A, the hardest bit is between the E and the A. That's really hard.
Really?
To
You think
freeze.
so?
Well, yeah, because you're geared up.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah.
I think if you can stop the thought before it leads to an emotion.
Well,
or
yeah,
kind of
I think if you can change the story, you nip it in the butt. Then
nip it in the bud, yeah.
just straight away, it's like you get the story, and then the domino effect going to emotion and then going to action is completely different because the emotions are different and therefore the action's different.
We're changing your life story.
Yeah,
quite literally.
Literally.
So, Joe, what about A? for action.